spindrifts. I love these things. But another day to read the Bible. Where's everybody at today? What's up, guys? Reading the Bible, eating cookies. Drinking spindrifts. So what's up, guys? How's your day been? Pretty amazing, because it's a day God gave you. Can't complain about that, huh? All right. Father God, as I read these words and I add any commentary, just pray that it's your words that are speaking through me. Control my tongue, control my mouth, control my breath, control the things that are from me so that they are from you. And may all the people who hear my voice be the ones that are meant to. May guide them, may touch them, may it be the words they need to hear. All right. So we're on Leviticus chapter 19. And I think the goal is to go to finish on 24 today. I think there's only like 30 chapters on Leviticus. 27 chapters. I mean, we probably finish it tomorrow. But, all right. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to all the congregation of the people of Israel, and say to them, You shall be holy, for I, the Lord your God, am holy. Every one of you shall revere his mother and his father, and you shall keep my Sabbath. I am the Lord your God. Do not turn to idols or make yourself any gods of cast metal. I am the Lord your God. Respect your mom and dad. Don't worship other gods. Just worship God." Solid, easy to keep. "When you offer a sacrifice of peace offering to the Lord, you shall offer it so that you may be accepted. It shall be eaten the same day you offer it, or on the day after, and anything left over until the third day shall be burned up with fire. If it is eaten at all on the third day, it is tainted, and it will not be accepted. And everyone who eats it shall bear his iniquity, because he has profaned what is holy to the Lord, and that person shall be cut off from his people." You don't want you eating the old stuff. It was for an offering. The peace offering. So you can eat it that day. You can eat it the day after. Peace offerings. It shall be eaten the same day, the day after, but not any time after that. Stuff be going bad anyways, right? So he's trying to keep them healthy. He's trying to keep them clean. He's trying to keep them good to go. When you reap the harvest of your land, you shall not reap your field right up to its edge, neither shall you gather the gleanings after your harvest, and you shall not strip your vineyard bare. Neither shall you gather the fallen grapes of your vineyard. You shall leave them for the poor and for the sojourner. I am the Lord your God. You shall not steal, you shall not deal falsely, you shall not lie to one another, you shall not swear by my name falsely, and so profane the name of your God. I am the Lord. So, going back to the vineyards, you shall not gather the fallen grapes of your vineyard, you shall leave them for the poor. You just taking care of the people who aren't in a good spot to take care of themselves, Leave some, they fell off anyways. Let them be. Look out for one another. And then you shall not lie, steal, or you shall not steal. You shall not deal falsely. You shall not lie to one another. You shall not swear by my name falsely, and so profane the name of your God. I am the Lord. Don't be lying. Don't be making. What's up, Quache? My boy Ivan. Don't do any of that stuff. You shall not oppress your neighbor or rob him. The wages of a hired worker shall not remain with you all night until the morning. You shall not curse the deaf or put a stumbling block before the blind, but you shall fear your God. I am the Lord. Again, just treat people good. Love them. Don't rob each other. Don't oppress each other. Don't withhold money. Don't curse the deaf or put a block in front of the blind. You shall not do injustice in court. You shall not be partial to poor or defer to the great, but in righteousness shall you judge your neighbor. You shall not go around as a slanderer among your people, and you shall not stand up against the life of your neighbor. I am your Lord. Very interesting right there. You shall not do injustice in court. You shall not be impartial to the poor or defer to the great, but in righteousness you shall judge your neighbor. As a person, you can judge. As a Christian, you can judge your neighbor, but you got to righteously judge them. Not righteously. I think and that's the problem, right? A lot of people judge unrighteously. And Jesus comes and talks about that, and he's like, cast the first stone for those who have not sinned. But righteously, you can't judge. You shall not hate your brother in your heart, but you shall reason frankly with your neighbor, lest you incur sin because of him. You shall not take vengeance or bear a grudge against the sons of your own people, but you shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am the Lord. God likes taking vengeance on his own. Just like we read earlier in previous chapters, when it's talking about if someone breaks into your house and is trying to do something to you, it's okay to stand your ground then and protect yourself and your family, because they're in there for a reason and trying to cause harm to you. Protecting yourself then is fine, but it's not okay to find vengeance on them and come at them later. So it's saying it again here: you shall not take vengeance or bear a grudge against the sons of your own people, but you shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am the Lord. You shall keep my statutes. You shall not let your cattle breed with a different kind. You shall not sow your field with two kinds or seed, nor shall you wear a garment of cloth made of two kinds of material. Ooh, let's look for that for sure. Circling back real quick to you shall not hate your brother in your heart, but you shall reason frankly with your neighbor, lest you incur sin because of him. It says here that scholars debate the relationship between reproof and incurring sin, but this probably has to do with a situation in which one who refuses to reason frankly with his neighbor, helping him to see his sin, would share in his guilt of the neighbor's sin when it is committed. It might also suggest that the fail to reason frankly will result in bitter feelings that will overflow into sinful actions. Interesting. Because it says, you shall not hate your brother in your heart, but you shall reason frankly with your neighbor. So help him see his sin. If you see that someone is struggling, if you see someone that is sinning, you don't just let it go on. You just be like, hey, maybe we shouldn't be doing this. You know you shouldn't be doing this. Don't let them continue to sin. Now, that doesn't mean that you're evil to them. You just kind of give them a nudge towards the right direction. And you should expect the same from you when you are doing something you're not supposed to. Gabe, when is the next UFC fight? Man, that's a good question. I had shoulder surgery, but it's getting there, man. It's getting there. Okay. It's getting there. I don't got full range, but we getting there. We getting there. So I'm aiming for mid this year. So that should I just got okayed to go for jogs. So that's a good start. Haven't been able to jog for a long time. Back to this. You shall keep my statutes. You shall not let your cattle breed with different kinds. You shall not sow your field with two kinds of seed, nor shall you wear a garment of cloth made of two kinds of material. That's saying that ceremonial holiness requires that things stay in their proper sphere, just as Israel must observe its separation from the nations. So that's like doubling down on the being of God or being of the world. You can't be both. You're going to be separate. You got to be the salt. You ever put salt in something? It stands out. If a man lies sexually with a woman who is a slave assigned to another man and not yet ransomed or given in her freedom, a distinction shall be made. They shall not be put to death because she was not free, but he shall bring his compensation to the Lord to the entrance of the tent of meeting, a ram or guilt offering, and the priest shall make atonement for him with the ram of the guilt offering for the Lord for his sin that he has committed, and he shall be forgiven for the sin that he has committed. When you come into, let's read about that real quick. The concept of holiness governs sexual relations, and Israel requires a fair judgment to be conveyed in legal matters. In the land promises fruit. (22) Concept of the holiness governs sexual relations. Israel requires fair judgment conveyed in legal matters. Yeah, it didn't really go into much detail besides that. They shall not be put into death because she was not free. If a man lies sexually with a woman who is a slave assigned to another man and not yet ransomed or given her freedom, a distinction shall be made. They shall not be put to death because she was not free. But he shall bring his compensation to the Lord to the entrance of the tent of meeting, a ram of guilt offering, and the priest shall make atonement for him with a ram of the guilt offering before the Lord for his sin that he has committed, and he shall be forgiven for the sin he has committed. I feel like I gotta do some more research on this one. What's up, guys? We're just reading the Bible. Shout out Vuk Jiu-Jitsu. We did some good things over there. If a man lies sexually with a woman who is a slave assigned to another man and not yet ransomed or given her freedom, a distinction shall be made. They shall not be put to death because she was not free, but he shall bring his compensation to the Lord to the end of the tent. So I think it doesn't say it explicitly, but I think when it's saying shall bring his compensation to the Lord to the end of the tent of meeting, a ram for a guilt offering. So he's getting, clean for it. But I want to say that's his wife now. But I can't see in particular. I'm going to look that up for you guys. I'm going to get back. I'm going to do some more research on that. When you come into the land and plant any kind of tree for food, then you shall regard its fruit as a forbidden. 3 years it shall be forbidden to you, it must not be eaten, and in the 4th year all its fruit shall be holy, an offering of praise to the Lord. But in the 5th year you may eat its fruit to increase its yield for you. I am the Lord your God. So in the land of promise, the fruit of the trees must not be eaten in the first 3 years. In the 4th year it is holy and an offering praise to the Lord. Only in the 5th year can it be eaten. Forbidden literally means uncircumcised, and so the law of the land is being compared to circumcision. As a child is not to be circumcised before the 8th day, so the fruit on a tree is not to be plucked or eaten until after the 3rd year. Very interesting. You shall not eat any flesh with the blood in it. You shall not interpret omens or tell fortunes. You shall not round off the hair on your temples or mar the edges of your beard. You shall not make any cuts on your body for the dead or tattoo yourselves. I am the Lord. Thank you so much, brother. What's up? Great. What a upgrade in our game. Absolute match squad. Man, it was fun being there, man. I love teaching. If anyone wants me to go teach some MMA at their gym, just hit me up. They're spreading the word. Got to go to sleep since 2 a.m. Eastern, but I had to tune in. Gospel, man, much love. God bless you, man. God bless you. Get some good sleep. Prayers out there all the way to you and your family. He's with you. He's going to keep you safe. You're going to wake up tomorrow rested. I got a good feeling about it. God bless, man. So right here, a lot of people say that you can't get a tattoo, and they use this verse in particular to say that you can't get a tattoo, but saying you shall not make any cuts on your body for the dead or tattoo yourselves. The tattoos that you're not supposed to be getting are like tattoos of that, like kind of this whole verse stuff, this like whole paragraph. They're not really, there wasn't paragraphs before, but like this right here is all about like mysticism. You shall not drinking blood because it's for the life. It's like it has to do with like witches and omens and telling fortunes, all this like magical voodoo stuff. So the tattoos are included in that, and it's saying you can't get tattoos because of all that stuff. It's like that's what the tattoos are referring to in this part. So if you have a tattoo, I personally don't think you're sinning. I mean, I might be wrong, but that's the way that I see that. Let me see if it says anything. These are all the practices of Canaanites. Yeah, so that right there are the practices of the Canaanites. Holiness requires Israel not to act like pagans in areas of life. So the Canaanites were up to no good. How did you find God? Did you grow up in a family of faith? Hey man, Fresno did this with his lemon trees. I heard that story. I think so he says a man in Fresno did this with his lemon tree, talking about the not cutting it off, and then grew his fruit the size of grapefruits. I also heard a story where this guy gave his tithes out of the fruit, and he gave like the beginning of so a tithe is you giving 10% of what you got. So he did that. So he gave his first good fruit, and he gave that to the church. And then after that, God blessed him and just made like him just, because you reap what you sow, right? So he was out there doing God's giving to God and being a righteous person, doing as he's supposed to, and then boom, God blessed him beyond belief. But how did I find God? I grew up in a Christian family of sorts. My grandma would go to church all the time. And then my mom and dad didn't always go to church. Like we would hit some Sundays. And then as I continued to get older, I spent more and more time away from the church. I started having thoughts that I didn't really believe. And I had a lot of doubts about Christianity in general. I had a lot of doubts about a lot of stuff that happens with the church. I just became very skeptical. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't say I never believed in God, but I didn't know if Christianity was real. I was just kind of like, I don't know about this. And then I had an experience where I met Jesus. The Holy Spirit came upon me. I spoke in tongues, and the entire time I spoke in tongues, I didn't even think that was real. I was just like, how is this happening? This can't be true. And then I was crying, and I was just like literally bawling, asking for forgiveness, because the thing that I thought was, I didn't think speaking in tongues was real. I had my doubts about Christianity in general. And then here I was sitting or laying on a table, just feeling the power of God kind of go through me. In this, like, I felt this electrical, strong, warm, loving, nurturing, like the kindest, softest feeling I've ever felt in my life. But at the same time, in the duality of what is God, the also most powerful presence ever in front of me. And yeah, I was crying because I was just like, well, God's real. Because I'm like literally speaking in tongues and just words are coming out of me, and I can't stop, and they're just going and going and going. And I was just like, wow, I can't believe I ever doubted this. And that was the first kind of big experience that I had with God. And at that point, I was like, you know what? God is real. I'm ashamed that I ever thought otherwise. But let's get back to it. Do not profane your daughter by making her a prostitute, lest the land fall into prostitution and the land become full of depravity. You shall keep my Sabbaths and reverence for my sanctuary. I am the Lord. Solid tips. Don't let your daughter be a prostitute. The Sabbath is important. I would say the Sabbath is important because it's been big in my life, because it really taught me to just kind of let go of things and not try to control myself, try to control everything in my life myself. The Sabbath gives you a day where you're practicing weekly, just letting things go and understanding that, and it's for your benefit. Like, God wants you to take a break. So you let go of things. You go, all right, God, I know I need this break. I'm going to leave things in control in your hands. I'm going to leave you in control of these things. I'm going to put them all in your hands. And I know that you're not going to cause what is here to fall apart while I'm gone. So that's the Sabbath. It's a great thing. Let's see if it has anything to do about that other part. 26 to 31. Practice Canaanite holiness. Nope. Do not turn to mediums or necromancers. Do not seek them out and so make yourself unclean by them. I am the Lord your God. So you're not supposed to try necromancers, like mediums. They're people who talk to the dead. So God, over and over and over again, like he's like, don't mix with that. Don't mess with that voodoo, witchcraft, bad stuff. Don't try to talk to the dead. The dead are to be, dead. They're not supposed to be in the land of the living. And have you guys ever had a ghost encounter before? If you had a ghost encounter before, probably just wasn't a ghost, at least biblically. People die, they die. Those things that are pretending to be from your family, trying to reach you or something like that, probably aren't what you think they are. I kind of want to do a day where I just kind of ask people ghost stories. Ghost stories are crazy. But yeah, I tend to believe that they're not really ghosts. Yo, what time is it where you're at? It's 11 p.m. I'm not sure where you are, but it's 11 p.m. over here. But let's go back to it. You shall stand up before the gray head and honor the face of an old man, and you shall fear your God. I am your Lord. Since the Israelites had been strangers in Egypt and knew what it was like, they ought to treat the strangers living among them just like themselves in regards. All right, so that's just like, treat people. Yeah, Cali, man, we're out here. Just treating people with respect. When a stranger sojourns with you in your land, you shall not do him wrong. You shall treat the stranger who sojourns with you as a native among you, and you shall love him as yourself, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. I'm the Lord your God. Yeah. Same thing, like I was saying, you got to treat them. I know that's that scripture right there is what a lot of people have to bring up when it has to do with like the ICE things that are going around right now. There's a lot of craziness that's happening, and unfortunate, a bunch of bad stuff, and lives being taken that shouldn't have been taken. sad like stuff like that happens, but if only we lived in a time where everyone actually loved each other on both sides and political parties and just people in general, you know, be welcoming of the foreigners. And while the foreigners are there being welcomed, they're also kind. Be a nice world. I was on vacation, right? And I was just thinking, imagine like that was your day. You work, you take care of your family, you grow your own food, you hang out with your wife and your children all day, your aunts, your uncles, you know, just as a family, like having a compound, and just like, you know, all the work gets done that you did to provide for your family, do the little crops, go hunting, and then just kind of hang out with your family. It'd be hard work, but it'd be a nice existence. All right. You shall do no wrong in judgment in measures of length or weight or quantity. You shall have just balances, just weights, or just ephah and just hint. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, and you shall observe all my statutes and all my rules and do them. I am the Lord. Sums up the entire chapter. In summary, weigh the rule, avoid injustice, and partially judge in righteousness is taken up again and applied. Yeah, so like judging people is fine if it's done in righteousness. Don't be judging to like kind of make people feel bad or cast them out. It should be a judgment to like uplift and help, not to segregate and make people feel bad about themselves and stuff like that, you know. All right, next chapter. Chapter 20. 21. We are like taking our time this time. I feel like I usually just kind of zoom through these a little bit more. Talking a lot this time, but tis good. One second. I'm home. I gotta be on Wi-Fi. Let's do we back? Okay. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, say to the people of Israel, any one of the people of Israel, or the strangers who sojourn in Israel, who gives any of his children to Molech being this child sacrifice god that we kind of don't vibe with as Christians, or followers of Yahweh. Molech shall surely be put to death. The people of the land shall stone him with stones. I myself will set my face against the man, and I will cut him off from among his people, because he has given one of his children to Molech to make my sanctuary unclean and to profane my holy name. Dang. So it's sad. Let me read that back, that whole verse. In Israel, who gives any of his children to Molech shall surely be put to death. I mean, you sacrifice your child, you die. God ain't messing around. And if the people of the land do at all close their eyes to the man when he gives one of his children to Molech, and do not put him to death, then I will set my face against that man and against his clan, and I will cut them off from the people, from their people, him and all who follow him in the whoring after Molech. You know, a lot of people say right there that modern day man, I can't even remember the word right now. Modern day abortions is sacrifice to Molech. That if you ask a woman, I know it's like her body, her choice, and that's what they say. And the people that are pro-life are saying that they knew what they were getting into, you know, and that if pregnancy happens and that a woman is gonna have a child and she becomes pregnant, that the chances of pregnancy are pretty slim. I don't know if you know, but to like every baby is a miracle, regardless of how it comes about. Every baby in itself, the just the process of pregnancy. I think during ovulation is about a 30% chance, so that's already, the cards are stacked against you. And outside of ovulation is like minuscule. It's like 4%, 3%. So if you get pregnant, it's a giant blessing. It's almost like the pregnancy was meant to be, and that you are sacrificing that baby to live a life that you want to live. And so that's kind of what people sacrificed to Molech for. So they make those kind of parallels, the modern day abortion to sacrificing to Molech. And it's a very, because it's one of those things where it's like, God bless, you can totally see what they're saying, because they are technically sacrificing. The problem is, they don't consider that the baby in their stomach to be a baby for abortion. So they don't consider it sacrificing a baby. They consider it sacrificing whatever it is inside of them for themselves, though, because they are getting rid of that so that they can't, their life that they currently have doesn't change, or the dreams that they're going after aren't changing, or they're able to reach them easier. So they're getting rid of something to either allow what they're currently going after to stay the same, or make their life easier. They don't want to bring on extra difficulties. And then as far as should it be legal or not, that's a whole other question. I kind of feel like there's this thin line between everything should be legal, and then, people just kind of, but people just go by the book, and then they don't do any of that stuff, because like God's like all about, especially in the New Testament, like he's all about you freely choosing to do what you want to do. Like he lays down the laws, like as far as like the rules, like you should be this way, you should be that way. But God is a God of free choice. So he's like, you guys do what you want to do. There's a right way and a wrong way to do it, but you guys go ahead and do what you want to do. And like, it hurts me, man, every time that a baby has to be aborted or something like that. But, I can't control people either. God doesn't control people. I definitely can't control people. Hey, so just, it's sad though that, to think that stuff like that happens. Yeah. If a person turns to mediums and necromancers, whoring after them, I will set my face against that person, and I will cut him from among his people. Consecrate yourselves, therefore, and be holy, for I am the Lord your God. Keep my statutes and do them. I am the Lord who sanctifies you. For anyone who curses his father or his mother shall surely be put to death. He has cursed his father or his mother. His blood is upon him. The Lord sanctifies the Israelites by making them his holy people, sets apart his own, giving them a holy status. Now he calls on them to consecrate themselves and be holy. So yeah, he's just asking them to be holy as he wants them to. And it goes back to saying that if a person turns to mediums and necromancers whoring after them, I will set my face against that person. I will cut him. So he doesn't want you talking to dead people. Like he doesn't want you reaching to end, like staying. He wants you to stay so far away from any of that black magic stuff and sacrificing and summoning stuff and trying to, like, he's like, nah, that's not good for you. Stay away from it. And then cursing one's parents is not merely using condescending or abusive language toward them, but refers to a serious breach of a child's duty to honor his or her parents. It means to make light of something, and is exact opposite of honoring one's parents. So when it says, for anyone who curses his father or his mother surely shall be put to death. So yeah, he's not saying merely just like, speaking out against them or anything like that. He's just like, he's saying like, if you're kind of going against them, your parents should have what's and this is like, you're not just following your, God is okay with you not following your parents if they're trying to have you do something that's not righteous or go against what God wants you to do. He's fine with you leaving your parents and not following them if they're doing some wild stuff. But they should be good parents. They should be making you do good things, helping you choose the correct decisions. And it's when you kind of decide to think that you know better than them when they are choosing what's right for you is the problem. If you chose not to do what they do when they doing some wild stuff, then that's a totally different story. If a man commits adultery with the wife of his neighbor, both the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death. If a man lies with his father's wife, he has uncovered his father's nakedness. Both of them shall surely be put to death. Their blood is upon them. If a man lies with his daughter-in-law, both of them shall surely be put to death. They have committed perversion. Their blood is upon them. If a man lies with a male, as with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood is upon them. So it's very interesting that it's only when a man is with a man that it is the abomination. They shall be surely put to death. Their blood is upon them. But he definitely just doesn't want you cheating in general. If a man takes a woman and her mother also, it is depravity, and they shall be burned with fire, that there may be no depravity among you. If a man lies with an animal, he shall surely be put to death, and you shall kill the animal. If a woman approaches any animal and lies with it, you shall kill the woman and the animal. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood is upon them. If a man takes his sister, a daughter of his father, or a daughter of his mother, and sees her nakedness, and she sees his nakedness, it is a disgrace, and they shall cut off in the sight of the children of their people. He has uncovered his sister's nakedness, and he shall bear his iniquity. If a man lies with a woman during her menstrual period and uncovers her nakedness, as he has made naked her fountain, and she has uncovered the fountain of her blood, both of them shall be cut from among their people. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your mother's sister or your father's sister, for that is to make naked one's relative. They shall bear their iniquity. If a man lies with his uncle's wife, he has uncovered his uncle's nakedness. They shall bear their sin. They shall die childless. If a man takes his brother's wife, it is impurity. He has uncovered his brother's nakedness. They shall be childless. So again, he just doesn't want you. No incest, and then no messing with animals. You shall therefore keep all my statutes and my rules and do them at the land where I am bringing you to live, may not vomit you out. Well, that sounds weird. That the land where I am bringing you to live may not vomit you out. Perfect. So he's saying you gotta do all this stuff so you be holy, because you can't be you can't be at this place if you're not holy. You shall not walk in customs of the nation that I am driving you out before you, for they did all these things, and therefore I detested them. So he's saying, like, you're gonna, and this is just, it goes to now, right? If we're gonna be this Christian, this righteous group that's trying to follow God, we can't act like the world that we're a part of. Can't do it. You can't do both things. You're the man. You know what? Thank you, man. You're the man. But I said to you, you shall inherit their land, and I will give it to you to possess a land flowing with the milk and honey. I am the Lord your God, who has separated you from people. You shall therefore separate the clean beast from the unclean, and the unclean bird from the clean. You shall not make yourselves detestable by beast or by bird, or by anything with which the ground crawls, which I have set apart for you to unhold clean. You shall be holy to me, for I, the Lord, am or am holy and have separated you from the peoples that you should be mine. A man or a woman who is a medium or a necromancer shall surely be put to death. They shall be stoned with stones. Their blood shall be upon them. And just like that, it goes right back. I mean, so yeah, he's like saying that, that if you follow him and you separate yourself from the way that the people are outside, the ones that aren't following him, you're going to be good. You're going to inherit this paradise, this land of milk and honey. But, and then right after that, it goes right back to, and don't be a necromancer or a medium. I'm telling you, he really is trying to bring that home. And the Lord said to Moses, speak to the priests, the sons of Aaron, and say to them, no one shall make himself unclean for the dead among his people, except for his closest relatives, his mother, his father, his son, his daughter, his brothers, or his virgin sister, who is near to him because she has no husband, for he may make himself unclean. He shall not make himself unclean as a husband among his people, and so profane himself. They shall not make bald patches on their heads, nor shave off the edges of their beards, nor make any cuts on their body. They shall be holy to their God, and not profane the name of their God, for they offer the Lord's food offerings, the bread of their God. Therefore they shall be holy. They shall not marry a prostitute or a woman who has been defiled, neither shall they marry a woman divorced from her husband, for the priest is holy to his God. You shall sanctify him, for he offers the bread of your God. He shall be holy to you, for I, the Lord, who sanctify you, am holy. And the daughter of any priest, if she profanes herself by whoring, profanes her father, she shall be burned with fire. And then it's just saying that, to break that down, a layperson coming into contact with the dead, as in a funeral, brings about defilement, though it is allowed. So the only time you're able to come across a dead person is if it is some type of funeral. But an ordinary priest is prohibited from coming in contact with the dead, except in this case of the close relatives. And then priests were prohibited from making bald patches on their head, shaving the edge of their beards, or making cuts on their body, just like the other Canaanite practices that they're not able to do. Because this chapter is specifically about the priests. The other ones were just talking about how you should be holy. This chapter is about the priest. The priest who is the chief among his brothers, on whose head the anointing oil is poured, and who has been consecrated to wear the garment, shall not let the hair of his head hang loose, nor tear his clothes. He shall not go into any dead bodies, nor make himself unclean, even for his father or for his mother. He shall not go out of the sanctuary, lest he profane the sanctuary of his God, for the consecration of the anointing oil of his God is on him. I am the Lord. And he shall take a wife in her virginity, a widow or a divorced woman, or a woman who has been defiled, or a prostitute. These he shall not marry, but he shall take his wife, a virgin of his own people, that he may not profane his offspring among his people, for I am the Lord who sanctifies him. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to Aaron, saying, none of your offspring throughout the generations who has a blemish may approach to offer the bread of his God. For no one who is a blemish shall draw near a man blind or lame, or one who has who has a or mutilated face, or a limb too long, or a man who has an injured foot or an injured hand, or a hunchback, or a dwarf of a man with a defect in his sight, or an itching disease, or scabs, or crushed testicles. Crushed testicles. No man of the offspring of Aaron to the priest who has a blemish shall come near to offer the Lord's food offering, since he has a blemish. He shall not come near to offer the bread of God. He may eat the bread of his God, both of the most holy and of the holy things, but he shall not go through the veil or approach the altar, because he has a blemish, that he may not profane my sanctuaries, for I am the Lord who sanctifies them. So Moses spoke to Aaron and said to all of his sons, to all the people of Israel. So he's like, yo, if you got any kind of blemish, if you tripping, or not tripping, but if you... It said you got a hunchback, you blind, you're deaf, you got mutilated hands, you can't be in here. You can eat of the bread of life, or the bread of his God, but you can't be the one doing the approaching the altar, because like I said, you got to be holy, you got to be clean and pure and sanctified in order to go up there and just to be in God's presence. And if you're not, then you can't be in God's presence. Your body can't handle it. So, and the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to Aaron and his sons, so that they abstain from the holy things of the people of Israel, which they dedicate to me, so that they do not profane my holy name. I am the Lord. Say to them, if any of all your offspring throughout your generations approach the holy things that people of Israel dedicate to the Lord, while he has an uncleanness, the person shall be cut off from my presence. I am the Lord. None of the offspring of Aaron who has a leprous disease or a discharge may eat of the holy things until he is clean. Whoever touches anything that is unclean through contact with the dead, or a man who has had an emission of semen, and whoever touches a swarming thing by which he may be made unclean, or a person from whom he take uncleanness, whatever his uncleanness may be, the person who touches such a thing shall be unclean until the evening, and shall not eat of the holy things unless he has bathed his body in water. When the sun goes down, he shall be clean, and afterwards he may eat of holy things, because they are his food. He shall not eat what dies of itself, or is torn by beasts, and so make himself unclean by it. I am the Lord. They shall therefore keep my charge, lest they bear sin for it and die thereby when they profane it. I am the Lord who sanctifies them. So that is saying, the potential cause of profaning the offerings lies in uncleanness. The very responsibility demanding the priest is reflecting the phrase cut off from my presence, which is more severe than an ordinary formula cut off from his people. When a layman is cut off of the Levitical law, it is among the people, but the priest is exiled from the service in the tabernacle. Dang. So you're held to a higher standard when you're the priest. And I've mentioned that before. So when a regular person messes up, they are they're cut off from his people. But when a priest is cut off, he gets cut off directly from God's presence. It's tough being a priest, man. For background, these rules, see those, okay. Contracting uncleanness is inevitable, but when purification has been made, one can eat the holy offerings. If purification is not made, and the offering is eaten, the offender forfeits his life. I don't care how hungry you are. If you ain't clean, it's not worth it. Because, yeah, there's a bunch of ways to be unclean, and the unclean can't eat the holy offerings until you're clean. Let's see, where were we? There. A layperson shall not eat of a holy thing. No foreign guest of the priest or hired worker shall eat of a holy thing. But if a priest buys a slave as his property for money, the slave may eat of it, and anyone born in the house may eat of his food. If a priest's daughter marries a layman, she shall not eat the contribution of the holy things. But if a priest's daughter is widow or divorced and has no child and returns to her father's house, as in her youth, she may eat of her father's food, yet no lay person shall eat of it. And if anyone eats of a holy thing unintentionally, he shall add the fifth of its value to it and give the holy thing to the priest. They shall not profane the holy things of the people of Israel, which they contribute to the Lord, and so cause them to bear iniquity and guilt by eating their holy things, for I am the Lord who sanctifies them. That's interesting. So if you do it on accident, it's okay. Like, you ain't gonna just die if you didn't know. But you gotta make up for it, and you gotta give a little bit extra. You gotta give it back with some interest for messing up in the first place. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to Aaron and his sons and all the people of Israel, and say to them, when any one of the house of Israel or the sojourners of Israel present a burnt offering as his offering, for any of their vows or free will offerings that they offer to the Lord, if it is to be accepted for you, it shall be a male without blemish of the bulls or the sheep of the goats or the goats. You shall not offer anything that has a blemish, for it will not be acceptable for you. And when anyone offers a sacrifice or a peace offering to the Lord to fulfill a vow, or a free will offering from the herd or from the flock to be accepted, it must be perfect. There shall be no blemish in it. Animals blind or disabled or mutilated or having discharge or itch or scabs, you shall not offer to the Lord or give them to the Lord as food. As a food offering on the altar, you may present a bull or a lamb that has a part too long or too short for a free will offering, but for a vow offering, it cannot be accepted. You got to give God the best. Everything you do, everything you give to God is supposed to be of your best ability. And for these offerings in particular, too, you can't just give him the stuff that you don't want. God doesn't want that. God wants you to give him stuff, and he wants you to freely choose to give him these things, too. You don't be like, I got to go give God this because this is what he's asking for. You go give God the best you have in thanks to him for providing it in the first place, because you know he's going to provide for you anyways. You don't be caught up and worried about, oh man, this is like the best goat I got, what am I going to do if I just give it to him, Nah, you freely give it to him, and you go like, it don't even matter. I'm going to give him this right now because I know God's going to give me back, and it doesn't matter. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, when an ox or sheep or goat is born, it shall remain 7 days with its mother, and from the 8th day on it shall be acceptable as food offering to the Lord. But you shall not kill an ox or a sheep and her young in 1 day. And when you sacrifice a sacrifice of thanksgiving to the Lord, and you shall sacrifice it so that you may be accepted, it shall be eaten on the same day. You shall leave none of it until morning. I am the Lord. So you shall keep my commandments and do them. I am the Lord, and you shall not profane my holy name, that I may be sanctified among the people of Israel. I am the Lord who sanctifies you, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am the Lord. Let's see how many pages you got left. All right. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the people of Israel and say to them, These are the appointed feasts of the Lord, and you shall proclaim, and that you shall proclaim as holy convocations. They are my appointed feasts. There's the Sabbath. 6 days shall work be done, but on the 7th day is a Sabbath and a solemn rest, a holy convocation. You shall not do work. It is a Sabbath to the Lord in your dwelling places. The Passover. These are the appointed feasts of the Lord and the holy convocations, which you shall proclaim at the time appointed for them. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month at twilight, is the Lord's Passover. And on the 15th day of the same month, in the feast of unleavened bread to the Lord, for 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread. On the first day you shall have a holy convocation. You shall not do any ordinary work, but you shall present a food offering to the Lord for 7 days. On the 7th day is a holy convocation. You shall not do any ordinary work. And then there's the feast of first fruits. And to the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the people of Israel and say to them, when you come into the land that I give you and reap its harvest, and you shall bring the sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest to the priest, and he shall wave the sheaf before the Lord so that you may be accepted. On the day after the Sabbath, the priest shall wave it, and on the day when you wave the sheaf, you shall make a male lamb 1 year old without blemish as a burnt offering to the Lord, and the grain offering with it shall be 2/10 of the ephah. of fine flour mixed with oil, a food offering to the Lord with a pleasing aroma, and the drink offering with it shall be of wine, a fourth of a hin, and you shall eat neither bread nor grain, parched or fresh, until this same day, until you have brought the offering to your God. It's a statute forever throughout your generations and all your dwellings. 23, 9 through 14. These rules apply to the life of the people. So this is just the commentary for it. Rules of the first fruits applies to the life of the people in the promised land for the relevant laws. And the feast consists of 2 stages. It begins with the waving of the sheaves before the Lord. Then comes a series of sacrifices that include a whole burnt offering, a grain offering, and a drink offering. These 2 acts are dedicated to celebrate the entire harvest of a blessing from God given to his people. Chapter 15, the Feast of Weeks. You shall count 7 full weeks from the day after Sabbath, from the day that you brought the sheaf of the wave offering. You shall count 50 days to the day after the 7th fat Sabbath. Then you shall present a grain offering of the new grain to the Lord. You shall bring from your dwelling place 2 loaves of bread to be waved, made of 2/10 of ephah. They shall be of fine flour, and they shall be baked with leaven at first fruits to the Lord. And you shall present with the bread 7 lambs a year old, without blemish, and 1 bull from the herd, and 2 rams. They shall be burnt offering to the Lord with their grain offering and their drink offerings of food offering with a pleasing aroma to the Lord. And you shall offer 1 male goat for a sin offering, and 2 male lambs, a year old, as a sacrifice of peace offering. And the priest shall wave them with the bread of his first fruits as a wave offering before the Lord. With 2 lambs they shall be holy to the Lord for the priest, and you shall make proclamation on the same day. You shall hold a holy convocation. You shall not do any ordinary work. It is a statute forever in your dwelling places throughout your generation. Let's see, the Feast of Weeks, 15 to 20. So it says that the Feast of Weeks begin 50 days after the sheaf of the wave offering is brought to the priest. The feast is also called the Feast of the Harvest and the Day of First Fruits. And in the New Testament, it is called Pentecost. From the purpose of the celebration is to recognize the Lord as the provider of all crops and as the one who deserves the first fruits of all produce. This added rule concerning the harvest is also in tune with the generosity that is expected of people. On this occasion, God commands Israel not to forget the less fortunate during a time of national celebration and abundance. Yeah. The same reason, going back, like when he was talking about if you're picking the grapes, don't just pick up the ones that are on the floor too. Leave those to the people who are poor and they can't buy no grapes. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the people of Israel, saying, In the 7th month, on the 1st day of the month, you shall observe a day of solemn rest, a memorial proclaimed with the blast of trumpets, a holy convocation. You shall not do any ordinary work, and shall be present a food offering, and you shall present a food offering to the Lord. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Now on the 10th day of this 7th month is the day of atonement. It shall be for you a time of holy convocation, and you shall afflict yourself and present a food offering to the Lord, and you shall not do any work. And on that very day, for it is a day of atonement, to make atonement for you before the Lord your God. For whoever is not afflicted on that very day shall be cut off from his people, and whoever does any work on that very day, that person I will destroy from among his people. You shall not do any work. It is a statute forever throughout your generations and all in your dwelling places. It shall be to you a Sabbath of solemn rest, and you shall afflict yourselves on the 9th day of the month, beginning at evening. From evening to evenings shall you keep your Sabbath. What's up, guys? We're just reading the Bible. Reading it. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the people of Israel, saying, On the 15th day of the 7th month, and for 7 days of the feast of booths to the Lord, on the first day shall be a holy convocation. You shall not do any ordinary work. For 7 days you shall present food offering to the Lord. On the 8th day you shall hold a holy convocation and present a food offering to the Lord. It is a solemn assembly. You shall not do any ordinary work. These are appointed feasts of the Lord, which you shall proclaim as times of holy convocation for presenting to the Lord food offerings, burnt offerings, and grain offerings, sacrifices and drink offerings, each on its proper day, besides the Lord's Sabbaths, and besides your gifts, and besides all your vow offerings, and besides all your freewill offerings, which you give to the Lord. On the 15th day of the 7th month, when you have gathered in the produce of the land, you shall celebrate the feast of the Lord 7 days, and on the first day shall be a solemn rest, and on the 8th day shall be a solemn rest, and you shall take on the first day the fruit of splendid trees, branches of palm trees, and boughs of leafy trees, and willows of the brook, and you shall rejoice before the Lord your God 7 days. You shall celebrate it as a feast of the Lord for 7 days in the year. It is a statute forever throughout your generation. You shall celebrate it in the 7th month. You shall dwell in booths for 7 days. All native Israelites shall dwell in booths. Your generations may know that I am the people of Israel, dwell in the booths, and I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. Thus Moses declared the people of Israel the appointed feasts of the Lord. So it says that the Feast of Booths was a week-long feast that began on the 15th day of the 7th month. Since it celebrates the people's salvation from Egypt, it was fitting for them to cease from work and to worship before the Lord. And then that last bit is a summary of the annual feast. Refers to the 6 feasts over and above the weekly Sabbath. The purpose of these feasts is to help the people remember that the Lord and his work on their behalf and to worship him appropriately. Summarize the festal calendar. Return to discussion of the Feast of Booths. What's really crazy is as you're like, dang, like God's making them do all this stuff, but this idea of gratitude in your head is so easy to just be removed. Like, you got to make it a habit to be grateful and to give God his thanks and do the Thanksgiving and just be like, thank you, God, thank you, God, thank you, God. Because if you're not kind of habitually doing it, the habit's never going to be created. And if it's not created, it's going to be very, very easy to just kind of forget that God is the one who's the creator and he's the one who's allowing everything to happen. I think especially being someone who lives in the world like we do, right? In the big city, as you walk outside, we spend so much time in this world that we created, like man created, like all these buildings and stuff like that, the stuff that the men made with their hands, that it's really easy to forget that God is the one who orchestrated everything when you surround yourself with things of the world. But when you remove yourself from the world and you spend a day in like just kind of the countryside or, looking out onto God's beautiful creation that is nature, then it's a little bit easier to remember that God is the one who created everything. So if you're going to be living in a city, you got to take that time, constantly remind yourself to say thank you to God, because it's easy to forget if you're not, like, we're so far removed here in regular life that it's real easy to forget that he is the one responsible for all things. It's a little easier to remember if you're out there in like with Southern California, if you go just even go to Big Bear or just go to the beach and just looking out, you're like, wow, this stuff is so beautiful and everything is just kind of perfectly working together in nature, and like God is real. But when you're just in the hustle bustle of the city, it's a little harder to acknowledge or just be aware of all the time. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Command the people of Israel to bring you pure oil from bean olives for the lamp, that a light may be kept burning regularly outside the veil of the testimony in the tent of meeting. Aaron shall arrange it from evening to morning before the Lord regularly. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations. He shall arrange the lamps on the lampstands of pure gold before the Lord regularly. Bread for the tabernacle. You shall take fine flour and bake 12 loaves from it. 2/10 of ephah shall be in each loaf, and you shall set them in piles, and 2 piles of 6 in a pile on the table of pure gold before the Lord. And you shall put your pure frankincense in each pile, that it may go with the bread as a memorial portion, as a food offering to the Lord. Every Sabbath day Aaron shall arrange it before the Lord regularly. It is from the people of Israel as a covenant forever, and it shall be for Aaron and his sons, and they shall eat it in a holy place, since it is for him a most holy portion out of the Lord's food, offering a perpetual do. Let's see, it's gotta have to do with God is pretty his numbers are important. God bless you, man. We're not doing it. I'm not doing anything very special. I'm doing something anybody can do. I'm just reading the Bible. So let's go, where were we? 24. Let's see if it's got any commentary on that. The placement of his text directly after discussion of Israel. Don't forget the daily tabernacle activities in the light of the annual festivals just discussed. Yep. The 12 loaves symbolize the 12 tribes of Israel as they stand in the presence of God. They are called the bread of the presence. New loaves are to be set out on each Sabbath without exception. This is important because it is a sign of the covenant between the 12 tribes and God. Okay. Last couple verses for today. Now an Israelite woman's son, whose father was an Egyptian, went out among the people of Israel, and the Israelite woman's son and man of Israel fought in the camp. And the Israelite woman's son blasphemed the name and cursed. Then they brought him to to Moses. His mother's name was Shelomith, the daughter of Dibri and the tribe of Dan, and they put him in custody till the will of the Lord should be clear to them. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Bring out of the camp the one who cursed, and let all who heard him lay their hands on his head, and let all the congregation stone him, and speak to the people of Israel, saying, Whoever curses his God shall bear his sin. Whoever blasphemes the name of the Lord shall surely be put to death. All the congregation shall stone him, the sojourners as well as the native, when he blasphemes the name, shall be put to death. So, the command against blaspheming God's name has already been given before. It is dealt with again in this present passage for 2 reasons. First, no penalty for it was provided in the previous prohibitions. Second, the one who blasphemes in the case is not a full-fledged Israelite. The man is placed under temporary guard until judgment is passed. And then the culprit is to be stoned outside the camp. The laying of the hands prior to the stoning has been commonly explained in a way that the congregation, having overheard the curse and become defiled, devolves the guilt onto the culprit, and his death makes atonement for the guilt. Alternately, it may be taken as a gesture simply to indicate who it is that has cursed the name of the Lord. I thought that was interesting when I was reading that right now. Because if you remember back when we were going over the other stuff, we're putting before the ox or goat or sheep or, whatever is going to be sacrificed. They put their hand on its head. And so they're doing the same thing with this one of this person who's blaspheming. And before they're killed. And it's like he's being used as a sacrifice at this point. It's not just like a regular kind of oh, well, like this person's being stoned to death. It's like, no, like this person's taken on like an extra level. And so that's the scholars have two thoughts on that, like I mentioned before. The curse, the person who did the blaspheming devolves the guilt onto the culprit, and his death makes atonement for the guilt. Or it's simply just to indicate that who has been who cursed the name of the Lord. And then, see, whoever takes a human life shall surely be put to death. Whoever takes an animal's life shall make it good, life for life. If anyone injures his neighbor, as he has done, it shall be done to him, fracture for fracture, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, and whatever injury he has given a person shall be given to him. Whoever kills an animal shall make it good, and whoever kills a person shall be put to death. You shall have the same rule for the sojourner and the native, for I am the Lord your God. So Moses spoke to the people of Israel, and they brought out the camp, the one who had cursed, and stoned him with stones. Thus the people of Israel did as the Lord commanded to Moses. Or thus the people of Israel did as the Lord commanded Moses. Not to Moses. Moses. Then at the end, right there, it's saying that these verses deal with the principle of retribution. It is a form of ironic justice in which the punishment of the crime is found in the crime itself. The principle applies to everyone in Israel without exception. It is unlikely that a fracture for a fracture, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth actually implies mutilation as the punishment for the offender. Rather, the value of the injured member will be imposed or fined. This law, when properly applied, guided the judges in assessing damages and set a limit for thirst of revenge. Since this is a rule for judges to follow, it should not be invoked in ordinary daily relationships. And I mentioned this before. When you're reading an eye for an eye, it is the way that I see it. It's treat others the way you wanted to be treated, right? And not only that, it's the connecting thing to love everybody. This is a time where people weren't very lovey-dovey. These people were getting into wars with other people. There was killing that was going on. It was a tough time to be alive. And if you just told someone, love your neighbor, it'd be a hard thing to swallow. Saying this is that like connector to it, and is easier to digest. But it's the same thing, if that makes sense. Because if you love someone and you respect them, you're not going to be doing anything. You're going to be treating them the way that you want to be treated. And, you're not going to be trying to steal their wife, because you wouldn't want your wife to be stolen. You're going to treat them like you would if you love them. So there's a lot. We went over a lot of stuff today. God bless you guys for coming by and listening, the ones you did. We talked about the abortion thing. I don't know, that one's like riding heavy on my mind right now. It's unfortunate that we live in a world where something like that has to happen. It's unfortunate that we live in a world that, because I know like the big thing is like, oh, what if someone's raped? Like the girl's gonna have a baby with someone, have the baby be a constant reminder that she was raped, and like it sucks. and I've said it before, and like, like they've asked me, oh, what if your daughter gets raped? You're not going to want her to get an abortion? And God forbid that never happens. I never want my daughter to go through that at all. And but yeah, I mean, like, if it's something like that, like I said, the chances of actual pregnancy are against you, right? The chances of becoming pregnant from, especially something like as random as a rape day, like he doesn't know when her ovulation cycle is or any of that other stuff. Getting pregnant while you're ovulating is only 30%. And then outside of it is even less than that. It's like abysmal. So it's like, if a girl gets pregnant while she's raped, it's like one of those things where it's kind of crazy that it happens in the first place. Like, it's sad, but that child that would have been born if the abortion doesn't happen had like all the probability of their existence completely stacked against them, and they somehow, some might say, like, divinely, unfortunately, in that sense, because like the act of rape isn't good, right? But what God does do is use the bad to create good, right? God will use, because he is a just, loving God. People be like, if he's such a just, loving God, there's a life even in a tragic event like that. Yeah, and so for when you take that and you just decide to end it, it's like, oh, man, like, they're battling the odds already. Like, for all intents and purposes, he shouldn't be here, or she shouldn't be here. What about repeated incest, abuse, pregnancy occurs? No, yeah. Like, that shouldn't happen either. But when the pregnancy occurs, that doesn't mean you should just kill what would be that person's baby. Because life in general is a miracle. It sucks. That's what it stems from. That sucks that's where it comes from. But like I was saying, God created paradise. We were in the garden and all things were perfect. We ruined it by bringing sin in and corrupting this world. But because, and that was our choice, and God lets us have free choice. That's just what it is. We chose that. So we're the ones who messed things up. We had to exit the garden and brought sin with us. So now we live in a broken, fallen world. But God, in all of his loving and justness, now he can't just get rid of sin, because that would get rid of all the free will and the choice and all that stuff. Like, he can't just stop every bad thing from ever happening. But what he can do is make good things come from all the bad things that we come across or bad things that we go through. And then that's the point. Like, that's where his lovingness comes from. He's like, this happened to you. This sucks, but I'm going to make something good out of it. And it doesn't have to just be that, right? You can think of any kind of bad situation that can happen, happen to you, bad circumstances. Bad stuff happens sometimes. And God doesn't promise a perfect life that's nothing but sunshine and rainbows. God promises peace while you're going through them, and then also says that he will use those bad things to bring for the goodness, for the whole to bring honor to his kingdom. So he's going to use all the bad stuff that's happening to you for good. But yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely sad that it's actually something that people have to deal with in the first place. It's sad that people get raped. It's sad that people get raped by their family members. It's sad that all of that wickedness occurs on this planet. And But does having the abortion or something like that actually make it better? Like, does it? I know the argument is the trauma that is dealt by having to go through the pregnancy and then give birth to the child and then raise that child and have it be a constant reminder is like being able to avoid that is the reason why it's worth doing it. But anecdotally, right, if you look, there's people that give birth to the child of their rapist and say that, you know, it really was a blessing. And those people I don't know about that. I can't say tend. I don't know the statistics, but they grow up to be, you know, positive individuals in life, or go on to show that be kind of just like a testament to God, that even in all of that chaos and evil and wickedness, something good can come from it, like a family and a child that can show love that the person wouldn't have experienced otherwise. So like something good can come from bad, and God does do that. But yeah, abortion and stuff is definitely a touchy subject. But yeah, so that's today's reading. We did another 6. What did we do? 24. So 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, 22, 23, 24. God bless, guys. Pray that you guys all have some good sleep tonight, that God just allows you guys to have a soft heart and to understand his words. Pray that I understand his words better too, man. Pray that he speaks to all of us, that he continues to guide us, and allows us to be instruments of his will. I know he's always speaking to us, but I just pray that we continue to listen. We continue to truly hear him and what he has, and just the world in general. And then you got the ways of the people outside of this righteousness that are people, like, got the people that are trying to live through aligned with God. You got these people over here who are not caring what God's doing at all. You got these little demons in your ear, and the devil's trying to tempt you to go this way or that way, using the people of the world. So it gets real loud. So I think that's today's prayer. I just pray that God continues to be a voice inside of us that we listen to. That we don't just hear, but we listen to. Yeah. So listen up. God's in there. He's trying to talk to you. Just listen. Listen when he's speaking. God bless, guys.